So why am I sitting here in the middle of RV season in our RV with my nose buried in my computer? Because I'm trying to pick which free cruise we should take next. Yes, Paul and I spend a very big chunk of our retirement travel time taking cruises, free cruises. And you might think we're big high rollers to be able to do that, but you'd be wrong. All you have to do is follow these 5 simple steps and you will be well on your way to getting your free retirement cruises. Now, Paul and I have been traveling the world basically full time since his retirement nearly 2 years ago, and cruising is a huge part of it. We love it. The gorgeous locations, the fabulous food, the great entertainment, the spas. I mean, what's not to like? All for free. And I will get to what free means in just a minute, but how do we do it? How do we consistently get these free cruise offers? Well, let's start. Step number 1, you've got to play. Now, that sounds a little bit obvious, I know, but you have to get the ball rolling. You have to actually let the cruise lines know that you really should be getting these free cruise offers. And the way you do that is you actually book a cruise and you play in the casino. Now, the easiest and least expensive way to get this ball rolling is book an inexpensive cruise. Do a 5 or 6 day cruise, maybe in the off season. Try to book it last minute if you can, and even book an interior room. It won't be very expensive. And get yourself on a cruise. When you get there, make note of the casino hours. They are not open all the time, 24/7 like they are in Vegas. On a cruise ship, they are never open when they are in port, and they usually open about an hour to an hour and a half after the ship leaves the port. So just pay attention to that so you can maximize when you're going to be in the casino. Now, one thing that's really important is every single time you go to the casino, bring your C-Pass card, that card that opens your door and gets you everywhere on the ship. Make sure to bring it because you're always going to want to use that when you're in the casino. Also, you are always going to want to set a budget. You don't want this thing to get out of control. The whole goal here is to get free or discounted cruises. Now, let me just give you an example. Earlier this year, Paul and I took 4 cruises in a row, and we really did track what we spent and lost in the casino because we wanted to be honest with ourselves. Was this working for us or were we just fooling ourselves? And I can tell you, after those 4 cruises, our casino losses, and yes, we did lose over 4 cruises, was a total of $800 for 2 of us combined. So that's how much those cruises cost us. Were they free? Not really, but they were pretty darn close. The other thing that's worth pointing out is when you get a free cruise, it is a free cruise fare. It does not include fees and taxes, which you will have to pay, but those are usually relatively inexpensive, maybe a couple $100. And you might also spend additional money. That is your choice. You can buy the drink package or the Wi-Fi package. So however much that cruise costs you is kind of up to you depending on how much of that extra stuff you're going to buy. So just keep that in mind. Now, like I said, Paul and I do travel nearly full time. We do a bunch of time in our RV. We do a bunch of time cruising, and we do the rest of the time by planes, trains, and automobiles. So if travel in your retirement is something that interests you, I do invite you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you will be alerted every time a new video comes out. And by the way, we have 7 more free cruises booked between now and the end of the year. So we have lots coming to you. Now let's get on to step 2, understanding the system and how it works. This is not very straightforward, and most casinos are pretty tight-lipped about how it works. Some of the cruise lines are more transparent than others, but even still, there's a little bit of secret sauce that goes into whether you will or will not get free or discounted cruises in the future. Now, the first term you might want to understand is what is called coin in, and all that means is how much money you are running through their system. That does not mean how much money you have taken out of your pocket. Okay, those are 2 different things. And let me give you a little example. Let's say you put $100 into a slot machine. Well, you probably know how slot machines are. You could lose that money like that, but usually what happens is you might lose $20, and then you win $40, and then you go down another 10, and then you go up 50, and then you go down 40, and it kind of does this up and down thing. the coin in, as long as you're sitting there and you're basically recycling that money, that is what the coin in counts. So your $100, if you lose 50 and then you gain 100, so now you're in 150, even though you personally have only put in 100 of your own dollars. So hoping that makes sense. Like on our last cruise, Paul put in $100, but he ended up winning 500 that he left in their system and ultimately played. So his coin in was 500, even though he only put in 100. Now, the coin in all then gets translated to points. And I will talk a little bit about how that point system works when I talk about which games are more beneficial to you in step number 3. Now, the other term that casinos use when they're determining whether to give you free cruise is called ADT, and that is your average daily theoretical. Now, really what that means is how much does the casino expect you to lose on a daily basis? Yes, they do calculate that. They might be wrong, but they have an algorithm that will determine what they believe your ADT is. And that is ultimately what the casino uses to determine what type of offer they are going to give you. That is more of a gray zone that the casinos tend to keep a little bit private. Each cruise line casino has their own algorithm to determine that. Whew. This is all sounding a little bit boring with the coin in and the ADT. Let's get to the fun part. Step 3, which games should you play? Because they are not all valued the same by the casino. Well, and let's be honest, they're going to give more value, more points to the ones that are more in the house's favor, and that would be slot machines. So if you love slot machines, you are in luck. You are going to get free cruises faster than somebody who plays table games. And I will talk about the table games too, because it's important to know the difference. So, point system that I mentioned earlier. Basically what the casinos do is they take that coin in that you put in and they give it a point value. Now for slot machines, for every $2 you play, that's coin in, not necessarily what came out of your pocket, they will give you 1 point. This is not the same for all casinos, but it is a good guideline. There are other casinos that you have to pay $2.50 to get 1 point, and that is for slot machines. So if you play $500 of coin in a slot machine, you will be awarded 250 points. Now the great thing is with the CPass card, most cruise lines have a system where when you put your CPass card, you can look up to see how many points you are accumulating through the cruise. Now other electronic games like video poker, for example, because that game is not quite so much in the house's favor, they actually value it lower. And what that means is you have to play $5 of coin in order to get 1 point. So video poker, a little bit more strategy involved, so you can actually make your money last a little bit longer, but it's going to also take you longer to rack up the points. These casino owners are not stupid, so they understand exactly how it works. So the slot machines are really easy for them to track. You put your card in, you play, they know exactly how much you put in, they know how much your coin in is, and they know how to give you the points. So it's very, very straightforward. Now, table games, not so much. I play table games. My favorite is blackjack. Now, first of all, table games are also ranked differently depending on the game. Blackjack is ranked the lowest because it's the easiest for me as a player to sort of tip into my favor or at a minimum stretch my money longer. So I'm going to get fewer points as I play blackjack. The next one is craps, which I also love to play, but craps can be a little bit dangerous if you know what I mean. So that's the next one. If I played more craps, I would get more points faster. And then the last one in that is roulette, which of the table games, roulette is going to give you the most points. But it isn't so much you buy in and then you get points. There's a lot of soft things that are involved in this. And that has to do with the pit boss that stands behind the table games. And all I can say is it's very important to get to know your pit boss and develop a relationship with him or her. And you don't do it in a sleazy kind of way. You just want to kind of get to know them and what makes them tick and have them understand you, because they have a lot of discretion in how they assign points. So because it's not like a slot machine where they can just automatically tell what your points are, with table games, they are relying on the pit boss's judgment. So for example, he's going to look at, what is my average bet? Is it $10? Is it $25? Is it $100? Obviously, the more I'm going to bet, the higher he will rank me and the more points he's going to give me. But he also notices things, and this is really, really important. I've been doing this a long, long time. I tend to be pretty excited when I'm out there playing cards, and I have a lot of fun, and I do tend to make a little bit of noise, but I also call people over to the table because it's more fun when there are more people. And people that look super interested, or maybe they want to learn how to play, I'll sit down with them. I'll teach them how to play. I'll have them sit with me. I'll give them tips and advice. Well, the pit boss notices all of that. So for people like me who do that kind of thing, I get ranked higher even though I don't bet as much as the guy next to me might, but if he's really quiet and he's not drawing in players. So there are a lot of soft intangibles that are really hard to determine how they give you the points, but trust me when I tell you, it is important when you're playing table games to get to know the dealers and the pit bosses. You will get more points and you will get free cruises faster. But don't think that getting to know the staff is only for the table game players, because step 4 is for everybody, and that is get to know the casino host. Now, that is the person who is in charge of the entire casino on that particular cruise ship. The casino host on that cruise ship is who ultimately will give you your likely first offer. And that offer, step 5, by the way, I'm not jumping ahead, but that is all about all the different types of offers and how to handle them. But let's finish up with step 4. That casino host will likely be the one in charge of giving you that first offer. It's often called a see you soon offer. But in order for them to give you that offer, it really helps if they know who you are. So when you get to the casino, go introduce yourself. Tell them, I'm excited to be here. I love this cruise line. I love this ship, whatever. Talk to them and let them know who you are and where you are and what types of things you like to do. Do you like to play table games? Do you like to play slots? Just make sure that person knows who you are. And then I would say about halfway during the cruise, touch base with them again and just say, hey, I've been playing for a couple of days. Do you have an eye on how many points I have? And then you can sort of graciously ask, do you have any perks for me now? Sometimes they'll give you a free dinner at the steakhouse, or they'll give you discounts at the jewelry store, or they can give you all kinds of different perks along the way to kind of keep you happy. So it is worth getting to know that casino host for everybody, whether you are a table player or a slots player. And now the fun begins. Step 5, getting your free offers. And there are a lot of different ways these offers come in. This is why I'm sitting here on my computer. I'm looking at all of these offers trying to decide which one fits our schedule, which one's the best value. I mean, it's actually pretty darn exciting when it all starts to roll in. So, like I said, that first offer will likely come from the casino host on the ship. And it comes in the form of a see you soon letter that gets slid under your door, usually the last night of your cruise. That all sounds kind of mysterious, doesn't it? Well, you get this letter and then you open it up and it says from the casino. And it can be anything from a discount on a future cruise, or often it is a free cruise. Now, it's not usually the best offer you're going to ultimately get. It could be a free 4-day cruise in an interior room, or it can be $250 off an interior room. But that's how you start. Once you get your first offer, that is when it all starts happening. So you get that offer, read the terms and conditions. Usually what they'll say is you need to book it within 2 months, but you have 6 months to cruise or something like that. They're all different. But hang on to that letter because you're going to need it for one of the other ways I'm going to tell you about how to get free cruises. Now, the second type of offer that comes in is usually about 6 weeks after your cruise. The casino from the cruise line you were on will start sending you offers. Those are usually better than the one you get that came under your door. So keep your eye on your email. Don't let it all go to spam, because those offers can be really, really good. And the great thing is a lot of them have different dates, different ships, different locations. We cruise for free all over the world. We just did a fabulous 10-day Greece cruise. I mean, it's just all of them. It's so fantastic. And again, we are not high rollers. I am not kidding you about that. Now, remember when I said hold on to that letter offer? Here is where you will need it. Other cruise lines will often match what that cruise line gave you. So let's say Royal Caribbean gave you this offer under your door. You take a picture of it, you contact Carnival. They have a program called Fun Match, and they will match another casino's offer. So it's really great. So you can parlay that offer into another offer, and you can use them both. So now you're getting 2 free cruises. And it's not costing you any more money or any more coin in for that matter. But here's the great thing. I learned of a program a couple of years ago. It's a service called You Are Comped. I will put a link to them below. And let me tell you, that is how I've gotten my best and most consistent offers. Basically, what they do is they take your offer, so you'll send them a picture of your offer. Again, that's why that offer is so important, including screenshots of any email offers you've gotten. You upload it into their system. They take care of all of the matching for you. And next thing you know, your inbox is flooded with free cruises, because they're spreading out all the matching. You'll get offers from, Carnival and Virgin and Celebrity and Royal Caribbean and even Margaritaville if you want to cruise on Margaritaville. They work with almost all of the major brands, and they do a phenomenal job, and it is quick and it is easy and it is transparent. I have had great luck with them. I highly recommend, once you go through those steps, step 5, do not skip the step of reaching out to You Are Comped. It is free to sign up, so it does not cost you anything, and it is remarkable what comes to your inbox. And that's how you do it. You just follow the steps. You go on a cruise, you understand the system, you pick the games that are right for you to play, you get to know the people behind the scenes, and then you pick your free offers. Which reminds me, I got to get back to picking mine. Thank you for joining me on The Freedom Strategy, where we are unlocking retirement by traveling the world. If this was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.